Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today from his sweet, sweet home studio, my good friend, Neel Ghosh.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Not much, Neel. It's good to see you, man.
Buddy, it is good to see you. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to this, man.
Me
I just
too,
been
man.
stuck in the crib. You know, we all are. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I get to see Jay.
This is what I love about still doing podcasts during this, is that I get a chance to see people who I haven't seen in a minute. And I get to see
Yeah,
their
man.
quarantine life. Like now we're what, 3 or 4 weeks in almost? You got a beard, you got a sweater.
Yeah, bro. 28 days, I believe. That's how long I've been in it. I got the beard going.
You look very cozy.
Thanks, man. It is a cozy day. It's feeling real like the Pacific Northwest up here today in LA.
Yeah, we got this overcast weather going on. It's a little rainy.
Yeah, it's like those lo-fi jazz like YouTube videos.
Yeah.
They play like lo-fi beats for like 12 hours.
Lo-fi
And it's
hip-hop
just
beats
like a
to study
teenager.
to.
Yeah. Yes, to study to. To study to. And there's like just like a teenager like rolling a soccer ball underneath his foot very
Yeah.
lazily.
Oh,
Yeah,
man. Or
there's
like
an
a
airplane
cat.
going by. It's
Like a cat on a turntable. But a
yeah,
cartoon cat, not a real cat.
Of course.
Of course.
We don't want to condone, animal abuse.
No,
Although
of
that
course.
wouldn't be abuse. That'd be kind of fun for a cat, right?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think letting a cat DJ, I mean, we're close enough. We had the keyboard cat for a minute. We probably have a cat DJ by the time this is all done.
Yeah, dude. There's gonna be a DJ Catlin.
Touring with DJ Deadmau5.
Yeah, he comes out and snatches him after his opening set. That's how they transition.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man, it's good to see you. I didn't realize, and I would love to hear your opinion about this because you were plugged into the comedy scene. You were in these streets, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how much I would find a void in like those small interactions you have out in the scene.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
You know what I mean? The sum of all of those, I didn't realize how fulfilled I was getting by those things.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the, I miss more than anything, honestly, I miss the Hyperion Tavern every Thursday.
Oh, dude.
I miss
oh
seeing
my God,
Chris and Tyler and Kyle and people like you, the regulars who are showing up and working out stuff and just shooting the shit with people outside.
I gotta tell you, man, like that spot to me, and I've told you this in person, but like that spot when I first came to LA and I started doing stand up, for a large part of time, you're just looking for acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to find a group of people that you just vibe with, you fuck with. You're like, oh yeah, this is cool. They're doing comedy. I'm doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I paid that tavern mic, man, on Thursdays. I remember I used to bike there because I was like hopeful. You
make a move. You're like, all right, I'm gonna get healthy. I'm gonna travel efficiently.
Yeah. I'm gonna start calling my mom more often. I'm gonna do the things that I've wanted to do. And I mean, I used to bike there. We used to hit the Thursday mic. Parker, Tyler, and you. I remember just, your first experiences in comedy. It's just like we're watching you three just riff, man. The show's like 2 hours with the mic, hour and a half ish, and y'all just, man, the fun that y'all had. It was just, I'm lucky, man. I got a good intro to comedy, man. I got to thank y'all for that.
Well, I'm happy to bring it back to see you here, and now we get to have you on this. I'm using the fucking royal we here, but this is it's been interesting to watch you grow as a comic and doing cool stuff and being out on tour and all these things. And you got and it's nice to connect because now I am intrigued to hear why you hate the movie that you hate. You chose a movie today that I was taken aback by. I hadn't seen it in theaters because I didn't get a chance to before they shut down. And thank God that they're releasing all this shit in home now because I can finally watch movies like the one you picked today, The Invisible Man.
Yeah, man. I saw this movie. I saw this movie with Andrew Lopez. Shout out, another great comedian. At the 11:30 p.m. showing at the Regal downtown. Now you know the Regal. If you go down there, it's like a $40 commitment.
Yeah,
because you're downtown. You got to pay for the parking, even though it's after 11 p.m. You have to pay. There's kind of these little stabbings that the capitalist machine gives you that you take for granted in times like these. So when I got into the theater, I was already in kind of like a tense headspace.
Right.
And then The Invisible Man started. And I tell you what, I've been told to couch kind of like negative opinions with 2 positive opinions up top.
Yeah, the compliment sandwich.
To like the compliment sandwich. Okay. So this is the thing. Elisabeth Moss is terrific in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. Okay. The rest of the movie is dude is the most predictable, unsatisfying psychological thriller. I'm using air quotes that I've seen maybe in my entire life. And to end the sandwich, I thought the camera work was nice.
That's a good sandwich, though.
Thank you.
So
I'm trying, man.
You didn't like it, and how did you feel in the theater, and also immediately afterwards, walking out? Like, what was your you said there was some tension that you were feeling.
Yes.
Did anything change as you were leaving, as you were watching it? Were you getting what was your feelings?
My feeling when I left the theater was unsatisfied, and then I remembered all the parking that I had to pay for before. And so it was just like I had gone down, and then it took me down further, and then I just wanted to not see another movie again in my life after that, man.
I mean, I'll say it's not my fault that you went and saw The Invisible Man in 4D. That's on you, all right? If you wanted to shell out all this money.
Yeah, that's real. That is real. I forgot about the 4D aspect of this whole thing. That certainly didn't help.
Right, because you got to have the air jets shoot behind your ear when the Invisible Man's there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you knew this, but after 10 p.m., they just have like a small Filipino woman just squirting a water bottle at you.
Yeah, she just missed you like you're a cat that did something bad. Like a cat that you're training to DJ that's not doing it right.
Yeah. With dead Mal and cat lid. Dude, let me tell you though specifically about the plot that bothered me. And you saw this movie, right?
I watched it. I watched it at home. I paid $20 on Amazon Prime to watch this movie.
Wow, so we both got ripped off.
Well, I saw it with I watched it with my girlfriend, so it's basically like we bought 2 $10 tickets. So it's actually cheaper than going to a regular movie theater. Because we would both be paying like $15, 18 maybe. Plus popcorn.
Right. Plus the popcorn and the bunch of crunch. You gotta.
Yeah, dude. Or a movie theater hot dog. I'm a big advocate of the movie theater hot dog.
Dude, you are living that sweet life.
Well, honestly, the movie theater hot dog I got, because shout out to Parker who turned me onto this. You go to get the hot dog at the movie theater, but you have to call it a movie theater hot dog when you order it. So
otherwise you're giving me too much power.
Yeah, just a little piece of fun for you. You're ordering, and you go to the cashier and you say, "I'd like 1 movie theater hot dog."
Do they give you a look too, like this fucking asshole?
Yes, every time.
It's a.
Sometimes they smile though, and that's when you know you've really connected with another person who realizes the ridiculousness of buying a hot dog at the movie theater.
Call it a movie theater hot dog.
Movie theater hot dog.
Oh man, it's like the 50s.
Yes, I'll get one of your frankfurters, please. Some of your delectable
batter fried?
popped corn.
One cool soda, please.
Yes, do you have lemon lime pop? Take it
Tuck in
without.
then. There you go.
Yes. Yes, I'll take a chocolated bar. Don't give me any of that commie stuff now. I don't want your red vines. Give me a Twizzlers. Red vines support the Rooskies. Better dead than red, I always say. Red vines.
Oh god! In these red times, don't give me red vines.
I'll tell you,
the
there'll be blood
cashier's
in the
just like,
streets
oh,
if we
God.
keep supporting these red vines and the way they're damaging our snack economy. I tell you, I voted for Eisenhower. I didn't vote for Eisenhower just to keep having these red vines pushed in my face. These damn commie candies.
Can't build a highway with these candies.
Next thing you know, we got to build a wall. Otherwise, all these hot tamales are going to keep coming over the border, getting in our movie theater snack bins.
They got a couple wall out of red vines.
Yeah, and then we got Mike and Ike, a couple of fairy fruits hanging out, tangoing together.
Mike and Ike, I prefer Ike and Ike.
Hey, I like Ike. I don't like Mike. Mike and Ike should not bed together. What about why isn't it Mike and Mary? So we watched it at home.
Yeah.
And I mean, I enjoyed it, and I also agree with you on how predictable it was. Because this is the thing. I think it was, as far as like psychological thrillers go, and I don't even want to denigrate the genre by including the psychological part in there, because I think that doesn't really help matters by over adding the classifications to it. It's a solid thriller. It's well made. I would say it's a solid good, but the level of predictability.
Like a 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I give it
10.
I give it 4 out of 5. 4 out of 10. My God. Neel. Here's the I think that okay, sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I'm ready for you. Well, and that's the part of it. It is supposed to be a thriller, right? The suspense is supposed to be there. And I felt like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, the end of that first scene, right, where she escapes her boyfriend's house.
Yes.
Adrian's house.
Yes.
And he comes running out of the forest and smashes through the window, right?
Yes.
When she gets in her sister's car, she makes it to the road.
Right.
And that right there, immediately, it's like, okay, this is our killer, and I hate that was taken away so quickly. I think I wanted to see more of their relationship, but like how he was abusive, or you know what I mean? Kind of It didn't do enough for me.
This is very interesting. This is shaping up to be a very interesting episode because we both don't like some of the same parts of the movie, but we don't like them for different reasons. I actually had this clip queued up as one of the ones I wanted to watch. Normally, I'd watch the trailer first, but I do want to. If we're already talking about the clip where she's running through the forest and hopping into her sister's car, let's start here, and then we'll pop back into the trailer after this because. Part of the problem that I have with this movie is that it was marketed in this Blumhouse way of like, oh, it's a horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It's a thriller. But there is a lot of predictability in it. You can tell exactly where it's going basically from the jump. But there are elements that are pretty standard tropes of this kind of genre. And some of those scenes that you know you're going to see, or you can tell what's going to happen, some of it feels out of place, and some of it feels like it was done poorly. Like this scene in particular, I have a problem with.
Yes.
Because of not because of we're taking away not because we know what's going to happen, but because of the way it plays out. So let's watch this scene, and I'll let you know how we're going as we get through it.
This is great. This is great.
Yeah. So, car's coming, and you think, me and my girlfriend on the couch, we're thinking, oh, is this Adrian? Is he coming to catch her in the car?
That was my initial thought as well.
Right, and then somebody...
It's her sister.
It's her sister.
Picking her up.
And but this is the problem. Her sister's like, what's happening?
Thank you,
dude. What's going on?
Even this. Somebody's smacking against the car. Just drive.
Nobody has... Yeah, we can end it there. That's all we need. Nobody has the power to punch through a window without some sort of assistance. Also, how does the sister not have any idea what's going on?
Right. This was a big problem for me all the way through. The sister didn't give a shit about her.
The sister's horrible.
This is a terrible, terrible sister. A horrible family relationship. How do you not know of this like cycle of abuse that's causing your sister to escape a man? Your sister is trapped at a man's house.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know of the nature of the relationship. You don't immediately. She gets in the car and she's like, "What?"
She's messaging. You get a message from your sister, who's in an abusive relationship, saying, "Hey, I need you to come pick me up on this dirt road in the forest, far away from my boyfriend's house." At 4 in the morning.
Of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Yes,
and your first reaction is not to ask what's happening.
Yeah, sure, man. I'll be there. I ain't got shit to do.
This is one of my many problems with this movie in terms of the execution.
Bro, also you know, if you've tried to punch through a window before, if you punch through the middle, that's where it's reinforced the most, the tempered glass.
Right.
You have to punch a corner.
Have you tried to punch through a car window?
I've kicked through a car window as a child.
As a child, okay.
Googled how to. I wasn't like trapped in the car or anything.
Oh, now I'm curious. What happened? Why did you try and kick through a car window? Or
Dude,
you did. You
just
kicked through a car window. You did it.
I cracked it. I got because I hit the center, it kind of just like spider webbed a little bit, but I didn't clean break through it. And I was just, you're a kid, you're just fucking around with your friends. Like, yo, I bet you I could jump through this. You're watching like Jackie Chan Adventures on the WB Saturday morning. You're like, yeah.
Right, of course.
I can do this shit.
Yeah.
What you see on TV. So broke through that shit. Didn't break through that shit. Adrian clean punches through this window. We're just supposed to expect to believe.
Yeah, he does like a 2-shot, and then all of a sudden, second try, right through the window, shatters it.
Completely shatters the glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's sugar glass for sure.
Obviously,
right? And that's another issue too that I had with this movie that I'm thinking of now. And I don't know if we want to like jump further along, but Adrian has this like superhuman strength throughout the entire film.
Yeah, he does.
He takes out like 9 guards at the end.
Now, part of me is wondering whether this is the kind of thing, it's like, you can explain some of this shit away, right? Like, you can explain away, maybe the suit has some other enhancements besides making you invisible. Because this is, I mean, we are jumping all over the place, but the whole premise of the movie, you can figure out what's going on very early on. Like, from almost the opening sequence that there is some sort of a device that he is using to make himself invisible. The movie's called The Invisible Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is this background that he has of being like this optics pioneer, right, in the medical world. Mm-hmm. So they give that away. And I think a lot of this, man, just comes down to just like bad writing. The fact that we have to have all these questions as the movie's going takes you out of the suspense of it.
Right.
I thought go ahead, please.
Well, I was just going to say, because the plot progresses like this. And by the way, I'm looking on the Wikipedia page. The Wikipedia page says this is a 2020 science fiction horror film. Not accurate in any sense of the word.
No. That was not 2020 tech.
No.
That was like 1998 tech.
Yeah, this is like Hollow Man tech. This is Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon should sue for copyright infringement. Now, all right, so it follows the movie after the apparent suicide of her abusive and wealthy boyfriend. Believes she's being stalked. She ultimately deduces that he has the ability to become invisible. Now, what happens is she figures this out. She's sleeping at her friend's house, who's a cop. We don't really know why they're friends. We don't really know their relationship other than they needed a black lead for the movie, so they got Aldous Hodge to be her best friend.
Incredible.
He's great.
He's fantastic.
He's great. And this is, there's Elisabeth Moss is great in this movie. I love Aldous Hodge in this movie. The gal Storm Reed, who's playing Aldous Hodge's daughter, also great in this movie.
Great, man.
But I don't understand how any of them are connected.
Yeah. What bothered me was that lack of relationship explanation. Just like there's some lines that are really hardcore thrown in there, like, you're my friend, but and it's like that's just like it just doesn't feel like good writing or like dialogue. And and this is something that I was like in film studies, you like take these like race and media classes. So I'm like, I think I'm particularly sensitive to these things. But the way that they use James's character, the character of James as an African-American male, like in the beginning of the movie, he's literally like, he's doing all the housework. He's like painting, and
he's
like
listening
just looking out the window and
to Tupac, I think, right?
He's listening to like, yes, dude. Just like, it's just so like, I don't know. Some of that stuff feels just very tropey. And like, he's a strong, the physically brute, African-American body that we have no explanation of his background or his identity.
Right.
Other than these like very stereotypical kind of
single
tropes.
dad cop.
Yeah.
Very tough.
And he's a cop. Yeah.
That's all you
very
need to
tough
know.
And just like, and so I don't know their relationship. I don't know why he puts up with her shit through this entire movie.
I have no idea.
James
I truly don't understand.
Biggest victim. James is the biggest victim in this entire movie.
Oh yeah, his house gets trashed.
He gets the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
His daughter gets beat, and this girl who we don't know how they know each other. Maybe the police like force just like assigned him this woman to stay with him, and it's like, you come to my house, you like don't really help out. You know, like you're just fucking paranoid all the time, and my daughter gets beat up, and you're like, and then I don't know, man. I feel bad for him.
I would like to, before we go further along and discuss this plot, I would like to watch the trailer, because I do feel like, I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking, oh, this will be interesting. And you figure out what's going to happen in the movie. I remember seeing a tweet that somebody, a film critic I follow on Twitter, said something like, oh, this movie the trailer doesn't reveal everything. The trailer, you think it reveals everything. You're wrong. And let's just watch the trailer, because we can probably figure out a lot of what happens in this movie based off the trailer.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that. I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen. He's going to be an invisible guy in a suit.
Right. It did, and this will be good too for people that haven't seen it.
Because I also think this is showing the marketing problems with the movie. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Let's take a look.
Hell yeah.
Adrian, he was a sociopath. He said that I could never leave him. He controlled how I looked and what I wore. Then it was controlling when I left the house, and eventually what I thought.
Classic modern horror movie stuff, jump scare sounds, a deep soundtrack, heartbeat, jump scares.
I can't take you with me. I'm not gonna leave you with that thing on.
Right. The Lambo alarm, the music's building.
Yep. He's gonna punch through the window.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Adrian's dead.
Listen,
Wow.
you're getting your freedom back, okay?
Horror.
Wherever I
Horror
went,
clip. Jump
he would
scares.
find me, walk right up to
Yep.
me, and I
Breath.
wouldn't be able to see him. Adrian is dead. He's not dead. He has figured out a way to be invisible.
Bro, I never understood that, why they slept together.
She's scared. But also, this is a great way to get her in the same room as the kid and have a freak out.
He's sitting in
Yep,
that chair.
yep. Attic,
Yeah, and
confined
yeah, you got that
space.
fucking brrrr sound. I hate this so much. Is he there? Nope. But now, jump scare coming up.
Yep.
Where is he?
Come on.
Is he there? Yeah, you know he's there.
Oh. God. Oh. No regard for the fact that there's paint
Where are you?
everywhere.
Show
Right.
yourself!
Surprise.
Yep. And now he's got this weird superhuman strength, and she's
Yes.
getting flung
Can
around
we-
the room.
Right. And this is, highlights some great camera work.
Yeah.
You can't help me. Surprise.
So we know what's going to happen in this movie.
Yeah, it really doles out all of the impact beats of the entire movie. That was it. They
That's it.
gave away every single one. Right?
And they give it this
But the
score.
in-betweens-
Yeah, and the in-betweens.
Yes.
They give it the score to make it feel like it's a horror movie, and the in-betweens are things that like, it's a surprise to find out something like, oh, she's actually pregnant with his baby.
Right.
But it's not
Right.
really a
And-
surprise.
It doesn't feel satisfying. It just, all of it felt very unsatisfying. And there's
No.
a turn, it was interesting they used the entire first scene for the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat it through the entire thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just think, I don't know. The trailer makes it seem like it's going to be way more exciting than it actually is, which is what a trailer is supposed to do.
Of course, yeah. But that's the thing, is the trailer also showcases elements of the movie in a way that give you a false impression of what the movie's going to be. The movie is a very cookie cutter thriller. The movie is not a horror movie. It's very predictable.
Right.
You can figure out stuff. Like literally there are clues that you can see as they're dropping the breadcrumbs. You can look at a moment and think, oh, we're going to see the reveal of that later on. More than a lot of movies that I've seen lately. Like the pregnancy thing, right? That's a line that's dropped so early on where she, Elisabeth Moss's character, at some point she has to go to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Early on in the movie.
Yeah. Because she passes out. That's right.
Yeah, she passed out. That's right. She passes out at a job interview. And she goes to the hospital and they're calling back with the tests of like her toxicology report because she's like, I don't know why I passed out. We got to figure out what's going on. And you can hear them. She gets on the phone with the doctor saying like, yeah, you had all this diazepam in your system. You took all these sleeping pills. So that's why you passed out. But also there's something else that showed up on your test result. And it literally like cuts the slow-mo and she's putting the phone down and you just sit there and you're like, well, what's the other thing? The other thing is going to be that she's pregnant or something, right?
Right. It has to be something like that. And you know what's funny? On both the times that I watched this, that part I didn't even pick that little kernel up when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. It does feel like a huge kind of ball drop. Another moment that it did that for me was this is when she is opening the door, right? To go outside. It's before that breath moment that was in the trailer.
Right, yeah.
It's like that classic, like the door's open. I gotta go through it.
Why else would I go through an open door that wasn't open before?
It's just so like, in a situation where you're just a kid that you're kind of joint responsible for gets beat up in the face. The
Mm-hmm.
guy who lives there leaves his own house because you're a threat, and a door is open. Like, close the fucking door, lock it,
Yeah.
call the cops.
But he's
There's so
a
many
cop.
moments where the
And if
cop-
the cops can't help you, oh no.
Dude, that was it. Was just everything was made. The cops were also another thing in this they were made so stupid
Yes.
and so useless, which is just like, I don't know, man. It's these are tropes that have been around for so long. Like, maybe this is what we get from.
Is this the movie we deserved? One that spoon feeds us everything that's happening, but does it really slickly and artfully. So, I mean, it's
Right,
good,
looks
right?
good, yeah, it sounds good. Elizabeth Moss is good.
Aldous Hodge is
It's just
good.
like,
Even though we know
everyone's good in it,
exactly
it
what's going to
looks good.
happen every single moment. Because,
Right.
well, I mean, there's one genuinely surprising moment, and it propels you into the second half of the movie, which is, I mean, anyone who listens to this podcast knows, if you haven't figured it out by now, we're going to spoil a bunch of shit. But the sister and Elisabeth Moss meet up, and it's like they're going to reconcile, and then cuts her throat at the restaurant.
Yes.
Genuinely
Yes.
surprising
A
moment.
knife. That moment, I was like, wow, this is good. This to
Mhm.
me, the first time I watched, I was like, here's a turning point. This guy is going to get way more sinister, right? Public acts of like murder,
Yeah. I like it.
right? And his sister. Yeah, it was great. I love that moment. Real quick before we go in that, you remember that interaction that they had with the waiter before they're in this like posh like
Yes.
Chinatown
Oh my
restaurant in the
God.
Bay, right? And the waiter comes over and they have the most disjointed robot conversation.
Right.
Welcome to the restaurant. What would you like to hear the specials? Who's this person?
And it's so there's no need for it. They clearly just like pulled this. We were looking for like a hot douchey guy with a man bun who we can just make you shit on. And it's like this is our moment. We're gonna divert from the thriller and just do our take on why restaurants these days are silly. Hey, did you know that restaurants? This is the guy who wrote. Is it Leigh Wannell who wrote it or somebody else? No,
Yes,
Leigh Wannell wrote it. Yeah. This is basically
Indirectly,
like
yeah.
Leigh Wannell not doing stand-up, but just being like, hey, you ever notice how sometimes at restaurants they're saying stuff like, well, this is how we do things differently, and we do it all the same as every other restaurant. Ain't that wacky?
Yeah, and they've got some silly house music playing. There's a DJ in the corner. Why
Yep.
do we need a live DJ?
Why don't you just give me my dang juice? I don't need your DJ. And that's that moment. We don't need
It's DJ Khaled. It's DJ Khaled and Deadmau5.
Oh my God. We don't need, but we
I'm
don't. That's
sorry
the
for
thing.
the- yeah.
No, we don't
Oh,
need
God.
any of that in the movie, though. We don't need
Just
his
get rid of
breakout.
it.
Just get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
We don't need it.
It felt unnecessary. And so yes, this moment where the knife floats up,
Mm-hmm.
the sister notices it, and she just gets slashed in the middle of the restaurant. That was a genuine great surprise because they didn't show it in the trailer. That's the one
Right.
they didn't show.
Yes.
But it's interesting how this film uses camera CCTV footage, right,
Yes.
as like a way to build tension and show like build tension essentially. And in the restaurant, there's no camera.
Right.
You're telling me this house has so many cameras? The James's ring has good enough camera to get her running away, but the
Yep.
public restaurant in Chinatown doesn't have a camera. The police don't check.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And that's the other thing too, is like it's so convenient for some of this stuff to happen. Like because now she's in the mental hospital, right? And it's so
Yes.
convenient for these guards to all be super inept and not pay attention to what's clearly going on right in front of them, which is there's a guy in an invisible
Right.
suit who's fighting and murdering all of them right before their very eyes. But all right, well, let's not listen to the crazy lady because she's crazy, I guess, even though there's clearly something sort of supernatural going on here.
Yeah. Right. I
Whoopsie.
mean, that's the greatest. That's yeah. Six of my staff just got murked in the hallway, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna run out and be like, get down. What's going on? Get down on the ground. Dude, and even when there's a guy who gets a gun pointed towards him, and there's a good 8 to 10 seconds where the gun is just pointed at him. And this guy, a
he's
trained
not doing
security
anything.
professional, just doing this. You don't get any training to grab the gun and turn it?
My God.
I don't know, some
am.
of that stuff, it's just unforgivable, man.
It's just
Unforgivable.
because it's so obvious what they're doing. Maybe, man, I'm starting to like this movie less and less the more we talk about it, because it really is a movie that is designed to make you It's a movie that's supposed to make you feel smart, even though you're dumb. That's what this movie is.
Well,
Because you're like,
man,
this is cool. I know what's going on. Really slick.
this is and this is kind of a heady thing, but like, I think what you're kind of touching on is this movie, and Blumhouse does this a lot. They like to use these kind of like woke topics. This Get Out is a race aware. Oh man, if you like get it, then you're woke. And this is like a Me Too movement movie.
Right.
So, if you get it, if you get like the cycle of abuse and like not being heard by people, when you're saying there's an abuser and the power of an abuser when he's not even there, like all those things are in there, but it does kind of function that way.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like, you're supposed to leave there feeling like, yeah, fucking get it.
Well, and this is the thing too, is Blumhouse all of a sudden became a prestige outlet because of Get Out. Let's make no mistakes. Get Out is the reason that Blumhouse. I don't want to
disparage that movie.
And that's the thing. I don't think Get Out is a movie worth even trying to disparage, because Get Out actually does a good flip on the genre, right?
Yes.
It does a good, effective one. But the problem is, since then, Blumhouse is like, all right, cool, we're going to take all of these other things and elevate them because we have Oscar recognition now. We got big-time industry recognition now. We're reinventing horror. And and that paves the way.
Social aware topics, yes.
And that paves the way for movies that are extremely obvious and aren't really doing anything actually new to come out, but and be good and be technically very well made and have good acting. Yes. But we shouldn't be able to pick it apart the way we're picking it apart, as obvious paint by numbers,
Yes, that's a great way to put it, paint by numbers, man. And and I think that brings up even a bigger question of like, should these types of topics be exploited for kind of profit when the quality isn't there? Like when you can point out such big loopholes as as we've done this entire episode, like, is it worth profiteering off of something that is like a really genuine fucking problem that needs to be addressed?
Because that's the thing. It's like, I really like, I'm with you, the topic at large of this movie, of a movie that takes the way somebody reacts psychologically to being in an abusive relationship and getting out of that abusive relationship, and turns it into a good thriller. I like the what's the word? I like the spirit of that. I think that that's a good idea. I just wish the execution wasn't so obvious and full of tropes and so predictable.
Yes. It's it's like it feels like fast food. But it's like, when McDonald's was like, yeah, we got like 100% grass-fed beef. It's like, yeah, but you're doing it the McDonald's way.
Right. Just because you're making a quarter pounder fresh every time now when I order it doesn't make it healthier. It just means
like elephant carcass.
The package is prettier. That's all it is.
That's
it looks more like the picture on the menu.
Right, but you don't get that disappointment.
No, Invisible Man certainly looks like it does on the menu, but when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, this is full of just junk, garbage tropes.
yeah, and my heart hurts for some reason. I have hypertension all of a sudden.
There's one
Yeah,
there's one other thing in this movie that I definitely wanted to talk about, and I'm not sure how you felt about it, but the ending.
Oh, let's get into this.
Let's get into the ending, because the ending is a part where I feel very conflicted. There's again, we're getting into obvious territory here. The way it kind of goes down is Elisabeth Moss's character basically is proved to be right, but she can't legally do anything about it because, well, the guy's invisible. So
and nobody believes her.
Right. And then all of a sudden she finds out that he is like been kidnapped and not dead the entire time. And that's the story that's presented to everybody.
That's right.
Right.
Adrian, right. That's a turn. Adrian's brother, who has been acting as the lawyer, the purveyor of the will, is now behind the mask. The body that she shoots like 7 times as a climax.
Right.
Takes the mask off. It's the brother.
It's the brother.
What?
Who didn't see that coming? As soon as you find out the brother's actually involved and is like, we're going to make sure that you have that baby. That's my brother's baby. As soon as that happens, you're like, oh yeah, there's some wacky shit that's going to happen in this movie. He's not actually going to be in the suit. And
dude. And sorry, Jay, I need to point out one more thing.
Point it away, dude. Point in.
The tangible proof she gets, she sneaks back inside of Adrian's house towards the end of the movie.
Right. She calls a Lyft driver, the nicest Lyft driver ever, to take her out to this house. Poor guy.
He gets there. It's like maybe a 4 or 5 hour drive, I think he says.
Yeah.
And this guy has to wait. Mm-hmm. Everybody's waiting on Elisabeth Moss in this movie. And this guy's a sweetheart. But
he's such a sweet man.
She finds a suit. She finds a suit in the lab. Right. You're telling me that the police came in, covered all the furniture with plastic. Nobody went down to the lab?
Right. That's egregious.
There's a machine there that you press one button and a suit appears. That makes you invisible.
How did nobody figure that out?
These cops are just like, all right, the furniture's covered. Let's get out of here.
Cops are dumb, dude. Cops are so dumb in this movie. So
it's insane.
So she's like,
anyway,
all right,
I just need to say it.
No, I'm glad you said something, because then it adds to the layers of this movie where she is talking to Aldous Hodge, who's a cop, and she's like, listen, you're exonerated, but there's nothing you can do because Adrian is alive. And she's like, well, I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands then. So she schedules a meetup with him, a nice fancy dinner, and
steak, shrimp, and pasta.
And you can tell what's going to happen from the very moment that she gets here. You can tell that this is going to be where she gets her revenge. Because it's unsatisfying to walk out of this movie with Adrian still alive. And so what happens, she goes to the bathroom after basically getting him to admit that he did all this stuff. Goes to the bathroom, gets the suit that she's hidden, the suit from the lab, hidden it in her weird hiding spot that somehow Adrian has never known about. He knows every aspect of her life. He doesn't know about her fucking weird hiding spot in the closet that she keeps using.
Dude, my guy, you spent so much time trying to be a psychological abuser and you don't know where your girl's hiding spots are at?
Right? I don't care that she probably designed that house, but God.
Yeah. I mean, I in the fact that she went to the bathroom, but then must have gone to his bedroom to get the suit because she left it there, puts the suit on, comes back out, and we get the same. Well, we get the same ending that the sister got: the knife floating,
throat slash,
and the neck gets cut.
And it shows this part where she calls 911 and is freaking out because her boyfriend just killed himself, excuse me. And then her face drops after she makes the call and she goes back to being like to being very excited and clearly like stone cold murderer. And she says the same line that he's been saying to her the whole movie, which is surprise. And that's where the movie should have ended. Because that's like cool. It's a cool, fun button.
Great callback too. That would have been great, Jay.
But instead, we have this. Instead, we have like 2 extra minutes of just bullshit that we don't need. That's clearly there to make it be a setup for another movie. And I hate it so much. And I want to watch this part with you so we can just feel together.
Yes. Yes. Oh, this is great. This is right after she's murdered.
Yep.
Adrian.
Right
Revenge
after.
has been taken.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him just bleed out like a tiger.
Tiger Queen. See? Cut to black. End right there.
That's great, bro.
But now
hanging on the protagonist too.
We don't need to see him. We don't need to see him completely die. We don't need to see him.
No way a guy this. No, this is all too long. No way a guy this hot is like an optics pioneer.
Right. Of course not. There's no such thing as a hot scientist. We need to. That's another trope that needs to end. Hot scientist, get it the fuck out of here.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay. James, look at me. I'm okay. He killed himself. He cut his own throat.
Uh-oh.
There's security camera video of it.
James.
Oh, here, I've got...
Do you believe her? Uh-oh. There's a suit
There's
in the bag.
suit.
I got caught.
You never did want to get him admitting anything on tape, did you?
Of course I did.
She just wanted to ride out to the house.
I just didn't know he was that unstable.
I mean, she's doing a great job of keeping it all reined in because she knows that she's still wearing a wire.
You heard it, right? James?
But we don't need any of this scene. This whole scene
No.
It sound like to you.
is dumb. We don't need James wrestling with his morals.
Yeah, you never gave him much character development to begin
It
with.
sounded a lot like he killed himself.
And James is on the record as an accomplice to a murder.
Yep. And now their weird relationship will continue in the next movie. Invisible Man will return. Invisible Woman.
Invisible Little Women.
And we have this weird, like, minor key triumphant soundtrack that's playing the score where she's walking away.
Yeah.
I wonder how this
Filled
scene
with
would...
power.
They should have cut to... If this movie... If they're going to have this scene in here, they should have just cut to playing that fight song as she was walking away. Because then I would have actually appreciated the sequence. I don't need this.
Wait, Taylor Swift's fight song? Or Katy Perry?
Yeah.
This is my
fight song. The rest of my life song. See? Immediately, us just singing it over this makes it so much better. But
Oh God.
Listen.
Dude, you should have been you should have been there, man. That ending on surprise would have been just perfect. Artfully done.
If any big time Hollywood directors are listening to this podcast, first of all, tell me so I can have you on the show. I need good, fun guests who aren't just comics who I like, but also hire me. I will help edit your movies. That you don't need that bullshit in here. Anyway, Neel.
The cutter.
I'm the cutter. I have really enjoyed having you on today, dude. This has been a lot of fun.
Dude, this has been great. It was so great talking this movie with you. I just, man, this was such a pleasure. I hope it didn't get too heady. I know I can get that way talking about movies sometimes.
You got just the right amount of heady for this show.
Perfect, man. Dude, this, I don't know. This just, there is a book that this is based off of, Invisible Man. Right. written by H.G. Wells in like the 19th century.
Yep.
Read that book. It is way more satisfying than this movie.
Sounds great. Read a book, guys. Don't even watch this movie. Read the book. And Neel, where can the listeners find you if they wanna try and tell you that you're wrong or put on an Invisible Man suit and slit your throat?
Dude, all
Maybe
the,
not that
all the
far.
haters can. No, because honestly, I would find you before. How obvious
Right.
it is to find an Invisible Man.
Neil's house has paint
cut you
buckets
first.
over the doors at every open door, Home Alone style.
Yeah, I'm just running around tossing buckets of paint all day anyway. So, it'd be no problem. You can find me. I'm on Instagram, man. Neel.Ghosh, NEEL.GHOSH. Yeah, man, that's it. Holler at me, man. Send your hate mail. Let's talk Invisible Man.
Holler at Neel, guys. And holler at me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. If you like the show, please, especially right now during this quarantine time, consider subscribing to the Patreon. You get all sorts of fun stuff, access to the Discord, access to the newsletter, access to the film watching club, maybe even access to my Plex account.
Yeah.
All good stuff. Please. Links in the show notes for that. Patreon.com/blockbusting. Neel, you're a fucking gem. I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Jay, I love you, man. Be safe, bro. Be healthy. Yeah. Thank you so much
too.
for having me, man.
Thank you, dude. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.